Hi everyone, I hope you have a good day. By the way, we will be talking about another institution in our society, and that is health. Now, there was a time in our history that health or lack of health was merely attributed to biological or natural conditions. That was a time when scientific explanation was not available yet, and people relied on natural and mystical ways of making sense of the illnesses and diseases their society had. Sociologists have demonstrated that the spread of diseases is heavily influenced by the socio-economic status of individuals, ethnic traditions or beliefs, and other cultural factors. But thanks to the scientific discoveries, the study of sociology of health and illness can be constantly updated. Before we go further, let's talk about the definition of health first and its domain. Anyway, so for this lesson, we'll be talking about, as I mentioned, health and its domains, culture specific syndromes and illnesses, systems of diagnosis, prevention and healing, and health as a human right. As for the objectives, recognize the practice of medical pluralism in the light of cultural diversity and relativism, explain unique Filipino health beliefs and practices, and discuss the Filipino brand of health syndromes. Health and its domains. Health is a state of physical, mental, and social well being in which disease and infirmity are absent. That is according to WHO or World Health Organization. Now, there are two domains of health, we have physical health and mental health. Physical health, it is the overall physical condition of our body, taking into consideration everything from the absence of disease to fitness level. Physical health is critical for overall well being and can be affected by our lifestyle, our genes, the environment, and healthcare service. So you really have to take care of your physical health. The second domain is mental health. It refers to our cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well being. It is all about how we think, feel, and behave. It is sometimes used to mean an absence of a mental disorder. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. But what is sad is that oftentimes people focus on physical health only. They don't understand that mental health is also a very integral part of our being. Okay? Now, there are culture specific syndromes and illnesses. Now, what does it mean? Okay, anyway, a culture bound syndrome or illness is a combination of psychiatric and somatic or physical symptom that is considered to be a recognizable disease only within a specific society or tribe. So, again, only within a specific society or tribe. The disease is not known or believed in other society. Now, there are characteristics of culture-specific syndrome. Number one, it is classified as a disease in the culture. Number two, there is widespread familiarity in the culture. Number three, complete lack of familiarity or misunderstanding of the condition to people in other cultures. Number four, the condition is usually recognized and treated by the folk medicine of the culture. In other words, a culture specific syndrome is something that is considered a disease in one culture. Everyone in the culture knows about it, but the people outside their culture could not understand the disease, and they even think it is ridiculous or unbelievable. Sometimes there is no scientific explanation about it. Thus, these diseases are treated by the folk medicine. Now, to understand, I'll give an example. Okay, this is Kuru. It is a disease of the brain and nervous system that was found in South Foray in Papua New Guinea. Actually, there is a documentary about this, and you can go to YouTube and just type Kuru, and then you can find the documentary. Okay. Now, symptoms of Kuru are palsy or paralysis, contracted face muscles, loss of motor control, resulting in the inability to walk and eventually even eat. Now look at those photos. Those are examples of kids who are infected with this disease. Kuru victims become increasingly thin. The people of South Foray call this disease the trembling sickness or the laughing sickness. Death occurs within 6 to 12 months of the start of the symptoms. Most of the victims are women in 20s and 30s. And this phenomena causes social problems since after the death of these victims, men or husbands are left with their children and there are few marriageable women in the community. Now, you're wondering why mostly women and children only. To continue, the people believe that this is a work of a witch. As a result, people started to witch hunt. However, none of these remedies slowed the rate of increase in the number of Kuru victims. An American pediatrician went to Papua New Guinea in the late 1950s and tried to research for the solution. Through the use of microscopic examination, he found out that the disease organism was carried in the blood and was concentrated in brain tissue, and the means of transmission was through cannibalism. The people of South Foray had a funeral practice wherein women will butcher the corpse and become the main cannibals. They also share this with their children, while men thought it is unmanly. They believed that if they ate it, they would become weak in the battle. So that explains why most of the victims are women and children. And in early 1960s, cannibalism is prohibited in Papua New Guinea, and this caused the drop-off of victims of Kuru. Anyway, their practice of cannibalism was the reason why there was a spread of this disease. So it is culture specific because not all societies practice cannibalism. So imagine you eating relatives. Okay. Now, the Philippines also has its fair share of culture specific syndromes and illnesses. I'm not really sure if you are familiar with all of these. They have become part of the beliefs and traditions of our ancestors. I'm not sure if you're familiar with maligno or gaba or sumpa or pasma. I don't know. Well, anyway, maybe in your area also there are some. These were very popular not only in the rural areas but also in the cities. Truth be told, okay, when I was young, I heard many stories about these, and even in our community in the province, there were people we feared because there were rumors that they were witches, or in Visayan terms, they were mambabarang, capable of inflicting disease to people, or hiluan, capable of poisoning people through the food that they offer them. How about in your community? Anyway, here are some of the syndromes and illnesses. Number one is usog or balis. Now, it is a Filipino belief regarding the discomfort brought about by a stranger or visitor who is thought to have an evil eye. It usually affects an unsuspecting child, usually an infant or toddler, who has been greeted by a visitor or a stranger. A simple greeting or praise like, "Wow, such a cute baby," is said to be enough to cause the hex or usog. Now, to counter the usog, the stranger should say, "Puera usog," then lick his or her thumb and apply saliva while tracing a cross on the baby's forehead or abdomen. Have you heard of this? Okay. Next is, yeah, these are examples. Okay. Next is bughat or binat. It refers to the ailments like headache, chills, body pains, dizziness, etc. Sorry, that a mother experiences after giving birth or after suffering from an abortion or miscarriage if she didn't follow certain rituals after childbirth. There's a long list of forbidden activities, and these include going up and down the stairs, opening one's legs or crossing them Indian style, eating coconut or other coconut based viand like ginataan, taking a bath immediately after giving birth, and many more. It's like when a woman gives birth, normally he or she doesn't have to stand and work at home. If she does, there's a tendency that she will have this bughat. Okay, another is pasma. Pasma refers to a folk illness unique to the Filipino culture that is said to be most commonly brought about by exposure to cold and water in many forms. Water is believed to facilitate the unhealthy coldness that enters the body in the Filipino culture. The most common symptoms of pasma are hand tremors, sweaty palms, numbness, and pains. There are several ways that a person is believed to be able to prevent PASMA. For example, include avoiding tiresome or repetitive movements of the upper extremities, showering and bathing in the morning, and avoiding washing clothes after ironing. Maybe the last one is familiar. It's like after you iron your clothes, you should not wash your hands, otherwise, you will have this thing called PASMA. Or like after doing some exercise, uh, you don't have to take a shower right away. Well, I'm not really sure which one is true about this, but these are just some of our culture specific syndromes. And another is what we call bangungot, or in our dialect, we call that urong. Okay, bangungot is from the Tagalog root words of bangon, which means to rise, and ungol, which means to moan. Now, it is a syndrome wrapped in folklore and myth that consists of a nightmare commonly occurring in nocturnal sleep, frequently after a heavy meal that is often accompanied by alcohol, most often in young males aged 25 to 40. Oh my God, 25 to 44. Presumably healthy without any known cardiac illness. How often bangungot becomes fatal is unknown. Many cases are never reported, especially in the rural areas where dying in your sleep is an accepted event in the folklore of death. Many knew others who died in their sleep. Now, I remember there was this one actor when I was in college. He died of bangungot. I don't know if you're familiar with Rico Yan. Now, many more are survivors of one or more attacks with descriptive details of bangungot type nightmares. Inevitably, bangungot creatures have been added to Philippine folklore. Okay, here's one story. In the Ilocanda, who are from this region, there is the Batibat, a huge and fat female demon that lives in trees. So when a tree of her residence is cut and uses a bedpost or support post in a house, the creature transforms into a spirit form and lives in the holes of the post. When a person sleeps close by, the Batibat transforms into a vengeful like spirit, like ghost or something, and sits on the sleeping person's face, suffocating him to a bangungot death. Fortunately, wiggling a thumb or a big toe drives the batibat away. It's like as long as you can move even one of your fingers, then you're safe from bangungot. I believe there are still other culture-specific syndromes in the Philippines. So unique. The Philippines is really competitive. Okay, systems of diagnosis, prevention, and healing. When it comes to health promotion and treatment concepts, the Filipino beliefs are oriented toward protection of the body. Though it's not scientifically accurate, we have our system of diagnosis, prevention, and healing of illnesses and ailments. So, number one, health beliefs and behaviors. Filipino indigenous health beliefs is characterized by the principle of balance. The balance is noticeably anchored on the range of hot and cold beliefs concerning humoral balances in the body, and food and dietary balances includes the following. Okay, take a look at the following. These are just some of the beliefs. So you look at letter A, rapid shifts from hot to cold lead to illness. I once believed about this one. For example, like it's very hot outside and then suddenly I go to the mall, which is very cold. And afterwards, when I get home, I have this fever. Well, I'm not really sure if it's because of this belief or psychological effect or whatever. Okay, so anyway, these are some. And we also have Filipino theories of illness. Okay, so Filipinos believe there might be four causes of illnesses. Number one is mystical cause. The second one is personalistic cause. The third one is naturalistic cause. And the fourth one is bacterial or viral causes. So, mystical cause. What does it mean? So, it was believed that some of your relatives who died have actually asked you to do something and you have not obeyed or adhered to it. And so, this ancestor would inflict disease on you, okay, unless you do what is being asked of you. And the second one is personalistic cause. We have so many superstitions. So sometimes they would say like, there are mangkukulam or witch, and that they would inflict illnesses or diseases on you. The third one is naturalistic cause, so we are the cause of this. And the fourth one is bacterial, scientifically. Okay, next we have cultural health actors. Oh, health actors. The hierarchy of healers and specialists in Philippine folk medicine can be categorized as some sort of specialists in their own right. The hierarchy of healers are as follows. Number one is albulario. So he or she is considered as the general practitioner. They are knowledgeable about folkloric modalities and is usually specially versed in the use of medicinal herbs. So we call this tambalan in our language. So when people in the past had their disease or illnesses, they go to albulario to seek for help. And then we have hilot. Hilot refers to both the manghihilot and the nagpapaanak. Okay, so the manghihilot, oh, wrong spelling, specializes in techniques and treatments applicable to sprains, fractures, and musculoskeletal conditions. The magpapaanak, besides giving prenatal visits and delivering babies, often performs the suob ritual. So if you have high fever, so they would uh, do suob. What is that? It's like you'll be put under or in a blanket and then with warm water something until you sweat. I'm not really sure, but it's kind of like that. Okay, we also have mangluluop or mangtatawas. Specializes in diagnostic techniques, usually referring the patients after diagnosis to the albulario medico or manghihilot for definitive treatments. It's like he or she will examine you, okay, and then will tell you what's wrong. And he or she will refer you to any of the health actors. Okay, the last one is medico. Medico is a hybrid sort of crossover or specialization. He or she merges age-old folkloric modalities with ingredients of Western medicine, uh, other medications, and acupuncture. We also have alternative medicines. Alternative medicine means any form of medicine not recognized and practiced by Western medicine or conservative medicine as practiced a majority of doctors today. So we have acupuncture using needles, we have acupressure, but instead of needles, they use fingers to treat ailments. And we have aromatherapy using essential oils. Okay. We have health as a human right. This is the last lesson. Subtopic. The right to health is the economic, social, and cultural right to a universal minimum standard of health to which all individuals are entitled. Article 13 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution has some sections devoted to health. So we have section 11, 12, and 13. Just go over them. Okay, so these are in our law. Therefore, the government should protect and maintain the health of the citizens. Okay, so the state shall protect and promote the right to health of the people and instill health consciousness among them. To implement these provisions, the Health Code of the Philippines was enacted. Okay, that's in relation to these three sections. The human right to health entitles every individual to the following. Number one, the human right to health guarantees a system of health protection for all. It's very clear, health protection for all, so not only a chosen group of people. Everyone has the right to health care they need and to living conditions that enable them to be healthy, such as adequate food, housing, and a healthy environment. Well, I guess you are the right judge. I don't know exactly if this is still true, but I believe the government is doing its best. Number three, healthcare must be provided as a public good for all, financed publicly and equitably. Now, these 3 points suggest that hospitals, clinics, medicines, and doctor services must be accessible, available, acceptable, equitable, and of good quality for everyone. Okay, so that's all about health, and I think this is the last institution we're going to talk about. Have a great day to all of you.